What's up, guys? I'm going to be doing live streams. I'm going to be doing this more often. I'm going to actually announce it.
Nice. Hey, do you mind if I share this on like my social or anything like that? Go ahead.
Go for it.
Don't mind? Cool.
Because when you present this argument, man, this is why people have distinct.
Did Bongo the chimp share his banana with another chimp? Is that what you mean by morality? Okay.
I mean, does a snake talk?
Well, I mean, if evolution's true, we all came from a single cell. Technically, isn't that pond scum that we come from?
Pond scum is pond scum. A single-celled organism is a single-celled organism.
At the end of the day, the evidence is not. I mean, we might just have to agree to disagree on that, but
yeah, I mean, we're going to. I mean, for one, you give yourself away with the pond scum evolution thing. You are proving to be exactly like Matt Powell.
So I always liked that exactly like Matt Powell. And there's our boy Knock. And he will be around soon. He will do a live stream before this week is out to give y'all an update on what's going on with him. We wish him the best in what he's dealing with right now. Thank you to everybody that's here already. I appreciate it when you guys come around for me because I'm not knocked by any stretch of the imagination. Although I can rage when I need to, and or not. It's not necessarily a need to, but I can rage when I get pissed or whatever. And I kind of did that last night. I let the subject of tonight's stream get under my skin like a tick, and he did. So I'm just going to say it straight out. I lost my shit last night. At one point, for a lot less time than I did, Jefferson lost his shit, as he's wont to do very rarely. But yeah, I've learned early on, and knowing Jefferson, you don't want to push Jefferson into losing his shit. Speed had looked at it, and he said that at one point he could have sworn Jefferson said something about killing a hooker or something. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not.
So something else, but I won't even. I don't want to make it worse.
Well, hopefully everybody's wearing their rhetorical depends tonight. Everything will be tight and sealed up, and that won't be a problem.
I don't think that I made a comment about. I don't think I made a comment about killing hookers, but I could have.
And then, Herb, I think Jefferson sent you a link. Peter, I DM'd you a link on Twitter if you're still planning on coming in. And I am going to be an abject prick tonight. Oh, and by the way, could a moderator do me a favor and boot logical, probable, plausible, right the fuck out of here? Don't time him out. Boot him. Hide him. I don't want that motherfucker in here. Knock will put him back when Knock comes back, I'm sure. But LPP, hit bricks, dude. So at any rate, and I'm going to admit it right up front, I'm not going to be fair tonight. Danny's not allowed in here. He can comment all he wants in the live chat. I'm not gonna get rid of him. He can make his argument in live chat. He's free to go to his channel and make a response video if he wants to. He's free to, come to the next weather report and, give me all the shit. I don't care. Okay. But yeah, I don't know what these guys are going to do, but I'm telling you right now, we're reviewing Jefferson's video from last night, and I'm going to be talking shit about Danny. What they have to say, that's up to them. But I'm going to say it again. I'm admitting right up front, I'm being unfair by not letting him come in here and defend himself. But I really don't give a fuck, because he's just going to come in here and say the same shit he says every time, and he's going to piss people off. He's going to talk like that reckless person that he is because he's behind a keyboard and, disrespect people and piss them off because he knows he's behind a keyboard. And, if he went to a bar and talked to the people like he talked to people in these streams, and I don't advocate this, but he'd take a beating. He would definitely take a beating. Who'd we lose?
Scott.
Maybe he didn't like what I was saying. So yeah, let me bring this video up here and we will take a look at it. Gotta share this. And we're not going to go through the whole video. I have some timestamps here. We really don't have a real long time. Speed's got to be somewhere. I'm sure that Jefferson has his own things to do as well.
There's a tornado approaching from the southwest, so I may end up being somewhere else by the end of this. So. I'll let you know.
Maybe we might see you fly by.
Yeah, on my broom.
Right. And your little dog too. All right. My computer's really slow. All right, there we go. Man, I hope I didn't piss Scott off talking reckless.
No.
Oh, there is something in the private chat. Oh, guys, I'm going to bow out and let you talk about. I don't have much to say. Okay. He must have misunderstood me when I told him this was going to be about. All right, so I think I have it queued right up to the first thing I want to play. So let's start this. And like I said, just give the foreskin if you want to.
Yeah, Peter, if you want to try to jump in, you can. I'll see if I can actually. I don't know. I had just recently gone from the pay version to the not, so that upgraded things. I know for a lot of people that have signed up for the free version relatively recently, they can put up to 10 people in the chat. So I might be able to still.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't have that ability because before I didn't pay for it initially, but then I did, and now I'm thinking maybe I have that ability. Let me see.
I know that Knock had to pay for time, and sometimes he'd miss paying it, and then it would still go on for like an extra month before they turned it off.
Yeah, there was a comment from Otangelo at about 10:06. Yeah, just a few minutes ago. He said he was backstage, but I never saw him pop up in my queue. But another person came in. I added more than 6 people before, so let me post the link again and see.
Yeah,
I mean it's right up there on the top. So
at one point, did you?
Yeah, it's right up there on the top.
I guess he wouldn't even be able to do that.
Okay, I've got a logical puzzle, a biblical logical puzzle for Otangelo if he comes in.
Okay, hang on to that for just a second. I'm going to be back in about 20 minutes. I'm going to mute myself, or not 20 minutes, 20 seconds. I'll be right back.
So,
I'll be right back.
All right. So, do you think God can lie?
All right, this is the beginning of where I wanted to start. I must have rolled it back a little too far. This is giving me difficulties as far as getting right on the timestamp.
Who's that post to?
You're, I think, the only Christian left in here. It's to you.
Fair enough. Do I think God can lie? Yes.
Does he?
No.
Wouldn't you consider when he asked Abraham to sacrifice his son that was a lie?
No, I wouldn't. Actually, it's just another story about his relationship with his son. It has no historical value. You can take it as a foreshadowing. It's a story of Christ.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing. His son's name was Isaac, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So God says to Abraham, grab your boy, bring him up the hill. I want you to sacrifice him. That part happened, right?
Yeah, so far so good.
He gets him up. What's that? Okay.
So far so good.
So Abraham obeys that instruction, takes Isaac up the mountain, and he goes all the way up to the point of he's going to do it. It's
a sure thing. Yeah,
he's apparent that he's going to do it, and then God stops.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, when God told Abraham to bring his son up the mountain, and I want you to sacrifice him.
Yeah.
Did God know at that moment?
Now, I want to point out there, I was wrong. Cerberus did say to me later on, yeah, you said that I said God said I want you to. And I didn't remember saying that. And I said, well, no, I don't think I said that. Turns out I did. So I just want to own that. And we're just listening to this right now because it's important later on. Let me point out, too, that my contention that God lied in that situation was given severe blowback by all of the more philosophically minded people in the room. So I stood my ground and said I still believe he lied. But as far as like philosophically speaking, I could probably be wrong. All right.
He wasn't going to have Abraham go through with it.
Okay, so because God saves Isaac representing Jesus, but Jesus does actually die, that is, Isaac does get sacrificed, but to no effect.
Well, no, but Isaac never got sacrificed.
Yes, he does.
What I'm saying, I'm just asking you a simple question. When God told Abraham, bring Isaac up the mountain and sacrifice him to me, did God know at that moment that he was not going to have Abraham go through with that?
Well, I'll answer it the only way I know how. In the reading frame that you've adopted, God's lying.
Okay. I'm not trying to be like Darth Dawkins here.
No, you're fine, bro. I love you.
It's a pretty simple question.
Well, but you're saying, yes, God knew when he told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac that he wasn't going to have Abraham go through with it. Is that what you're doing?
No, I think it's a story about Christ told to the Jews, and a foreshadowing, and it's not historically accurate at all. So God is not lying because Jesus does get sacrificed.
Okay, but so you're saying that the Abraham-Isaac thing never really actually happened?
You could at least say that Jesus had a bad weekend. No, it never actually happened on this planet. It's not a history lesson.
It's not a history lesson. But Jesus being crucified, that is historical.
Not yet.
Not yet. So you believe it's yet to come that the Mashiach will be executed?
Well,
and I want to stop it there because I want to get Jefferson's thoughts on it because I didn't quite understand what he was talking about there because I'm not a biblical expert like he is. But so when Richard is sharing his unique reading of the Bible, which if you've talked to him before, he has some very unique thoughts as opposed to other Christians on the Bible. And then when you said to him what you just said about the Mashiach, like what is that like? Is that like a Hebrew word? What is that?
Yeah, it's just a Hebrew word for Messiah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then so what? Without playing it, like what was it you were understanding him to say? Like because what you said is what I took from what he said too, is that, you don't think that happened yet. So what, after you talked to him for a few minutes there, what was your understanding of what he was saying?
He's mentioned this before, that he thinks that the Bible, most of the Bible, not all of it. I think he believes that like the first 2 chapters of Genesis are written as sort of a, not necessarily a history, but they're narrating a story from the past, and he thinks that a lot of the rest of it is imagery of things yet to come, including like the death of the Messiah.
And now, if you put yourself into Richard's shoes, can you follow that? That line of logic. I mean, can you, in your mind, knowing what you know about the Bible, can you see what it is he's saying and how he got there? Or is it completely so out of the realm of how you read the Bible that
I could see how he could get that if it's almost like he is, and I'm probably misrepresenting his view, but as best as I can distill it, he seems to be kind of like turning everything into allegory and prophecy, when it's, based on what little bit of study I've done of the Bible, depending on the book that you're reading, each book of the Bible is a different genre. And I think Richard agrees with that. But when he talks about kind of the biblical narrative as a whole, he seems to be kind of like placing his own emphasis on this, like it's all allegory and it's all alluding to a story that is yet to fully come to pass, or none of the events have come to pass yet. It's the entire thing is predicting, almost the entire thing is predicting some kind of future events. So it's completely, I mean, it's all Richard. It's a totally idiosyncratic view of the Bible.
Yeah. And I mean, and I love Richard. I love Todd, because he makes it interesting. I mean, his interpretation of the Bible is about the most interesting one I've ever heard. Yeah, the whole idea, like my problem is even with any Christian who points to certain parts of the Bible, like that Smoky Saint dude, he talks a lot about how you got to know how to read the Bible. You got to know the different genres and everything. But once you point at one part of the Bible and call it an allegory, then it's open to being the whole thing being allegory. And, I'm not going to play the whole interaction, but at one point, I think it was shortly after this, I had, said, well, you don't believe that it happened yet? Or no, when he was talking about the Abraham Isaac situation and it was allegory, and then I asked him, well, so that was just didn't really happen, but the crucifixion did. Like, how do they discern between actual historical facts and what is allegory in the Bible?
I mean, in Richard's case, I could, because like I said, Richard's blazed his own trail through it, but it's not really all that different from, say, I mean, there's plenty of examples of theologians going, kind of taking stuff out of the Bible and kind of running with different tangents of it, or sort of trying to hybridize certain revelations and making connections that other people wouldn't do. I remember somebody was trying to say that the Song of Solomon is the most important book of the Bible because it details the kind of lusty relationship God wishes to have with his body of believers. While I was listening to this presentation, it wasn't until a couple of weeks later after I thought about it, the way he was sort of describing it was almost like a love-in, like a giant key party. God's the host, all the Christians are there, and they just get into a great big sex pile or something. I mean, you could kind of run with it like that. It was just like, okay, this is a little weird and a little Woodstock for me, but yeah, I think that's basically what he's doing. If you're sitting down with like kind of scholarly stuff and you're studying book by book, and you get like scholars' takes on what kind of genre it was and what the author, even if it's not identified, what they were intending with the book, you get a different sense of what the Bible is than if you're trying to like read the thing cover to cover without any real background understanding of it, and then kind of like do what a lot of Christians do, like, well, just read it and let its revealed word, reveal itself to you. Well, you can do that, but you get an enormous amount of individualized theologies, and Richard's is just one of them. I think his, in terms of like what he's developed for himself, is consistent within his own understanding of the Bible, but it is very much just a very idiosyncratic, individualized, personal theology that he's crafted out of reading the whole collection of the books of the Bible. But in terms of like trying to like suss that out with somebody who probably reads the Bible with a textbook and is studying them book by book, they're probably gonna get a very different impact from reading the Bible that way. That's how I study the Bible, so that's why I don't tend to take a lot of the stuff that's written in there literally. But it also kind of helps because I don't resent most of it either. Like a lot of former believers will. They'll look at it and kind of have like an emotional or reaction to it.
And I know exactly what you mean, and I feel that way sometimes too. But my resentment isn't necessarily at the Bible itself.
Right.
It's at the people who give it so much credence and believe everything, and especially like biblical literalists that I don't see how they can accept the Bible as literal and then look at all the horrible things that happen in there. And
that's the part that actually kind of personally offends me. It's more like the actions of theologians that are saying, okay, I've read this and I've interpreted it this way, and if you understand it the way I'm telling you it, then the Old Testament means this, and it was then superseded by the New Testament, and that's the New Covenant. And all those kinds of theological ideas have been built by the church and Christians and believers and debated and discussed and stuff. They're not a lot of that theology is not necessarily representative of even the messages within the books.
Yeah.
So,
and then Peter. I'm going to move on in the video, but do you have anything you want to say before I do that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so it almost seems as if the perfect word of God is not entirely that perfect if it's up for so many different interpretations.
Well, and that's the problem, because I think a lot of theologians and apologists get themselves, I think, into trouble, especially with skeptics and each other, when they start trying to do that, because they actually start, to me, they demonstrate a lack of respect for the text. So a good example is just like, if any of you have seen a Passion play or watched Passion of the Christ, the Mel Gibson movie, you know that that's not based on one gospel narrative. It's an amalgamation of lots of different pieces from all four of the gospels in order to give the most dramatic effect for a film or for a play. And for the most part, the way that's presented, as far as most churches and theologians are concerned, that's good enough, because all those gospels are telling the same story. They're just, some people are giving different aspects or different issues and things like that. They blow off any of the contradictions that might occur with the way those are depicted. They'll just say that they don't exist. But the worst thing is they downplay the individual theological and evangelical messages that those individual authors were trying to make, and how different some of them are from each other. They just blend them together and say, look, the point of this is Jesus, believe in him, love him, he saved you, and don't ask too many questions, move along. That is not a healthy attitude, and that is the attitude that offends me the most, and I see a lot from theologians.
And now, Speed, I'm just like you. I don't keep an eye on the private chat as well as I should. Yeah, you could send Midnight a link.
Okay.
All right. Let's go here. All right, now I've jumped ahead a little ways because there was a part in here that, and please go over and check out Jefferson's channel. He's got a lot of other hangouts on there that were very entertaining to watch. And Jefferson knows his shit when it comes to biblical matters. And people should beware of him, if they think they're going to get a hold of Jefferson and one up him, on what the Bible says.
I would go as far as saying not only go over there, but actually subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
That might just be me.
Well, no.
Thanks, guys. You don't. No one has to do that, but.
I think it would work out best if everybody desired to.
Yeah, if you express desire to subscribe, you should actually subscribe. That's what I'm saying.
And in fact, since I dropped the ball so badly there, and Peter had to pick it up and run with it, I will say I command you to go and subscribe to Spatchcock's channel.
Yeah, but now we're down to whether or not that's actually expressing a desire, and whether or not we should follow that. We need a second opinion, I think. Oh,
all right, here we go. I'm gonna start this bitch up again. Like I said, I jumped ahead a little ways. And that's why I mentioned Jefferson's channel. I jumped ahead to where me and Richard were still talking because somebody had asked Jefferson a question about the Bible or about Christianity, and there was a section in there where he was answering that, and then me and Richard went back to talking. And now at the timestamp I'm starting at, Danny will be in the room within 2 minutes.
Or answering what I asked him.
Real quick, can I say, because I'm sitting here waiting the whole time.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
You agree that you could want two conflicting things but only choose to do one of them?
You're asking me? Okay, yeah.
No,
yeah,
no. I'm asking John Petersen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't even hear it. What's that now?
Is it possible that you could want two?
Well, and so I'm going to just point out now, there's no more timestamps. We're just going to keep it rolling and stop it whenever anybody wants to stop it. This is where it starts, where I'm like getting ping ponged around the room, and I'm not balking at that. It's probably rightly so, and you'll see that I stick to my guns on what I believe. I'm still not convinced of what they said, but part of my brain is convinced because they're more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am. But you'll hear what transpires back and forth. They're trying to make me see their point. I'm not having any of it. And then Danny's going to come in a minute, and he's going to join the line of people ready to jack me in the head.
Conflicting things, but only choose to do one of them?
I'm going to be honest and say I don't understand the question.
Could you want to have sex with a woman, but also not have sex with a woman for other reasons, and choose to do one over the other?
Sure.
Again, I'm not sure how you think that sacrificing thing was a lie. I'm not sure how you could know it to be a lie.
Because God is omniscient, so he knew he wasn't going to have him go through with it. So when he told him to do it, he was lying. That's just fucking brute logic.
Wait. You said because he said he wants him to do it, right? Because he can want him to do it.
No, I never said the phrase he wants him to do it. I mean, as far as the argument, those words came out of my mouth. What I'm saying is that he instructed Abraham to sacrifice his son when he knew already he was not going to have Abraham go through with it. That's a lie. That's a lie.
How's that a lie?
Because he's omniscient. He knew. Wait a minute.
I'm just going to stop it there because it doesn't stop there as far as on the stream. And the fun really starts when Danny gets here. But I just want to just question, like, to the people in the audience, many of whom I'm sure, like me, not, philosophical geniuses or, philosophical experts. I mean, I would say that, any person who's not an expert would listen to what I laid down and could agree with that. I mean, you tell somebody to do something and you're a person who can see into the future and know that you yourself are not going to have them go through with it. I'm talking about a God. I just don't see how that's not a lie. I mean, they do their best to try and explain it to me, but I just never get it, or I refuse to get it, basically. Anybody have any comment on that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the issue is that, I mean, you could roll it back even further and say, look, if this being is omniscient, it doesn't really need to put Abraham through this test, right? He knows the hearts of all men, so he would know whether or not he'd be willing to actually go through with it or not. So the whole thing is kind of pageantry to begin with. But the idea that he tells him to go do something and then he kind of watches to see if he's going to go through with it and then tells him, nope, change of plan, here's what's going on, even though it's not really a change of plan, that's what he planned all along. Because he commanded him to do that, that's not a lie, per se. The fact that, you're right, he knows that he's going to provide this other sacrifice. He's going to prevent Abraham from going through it completely. So you could say that that's slightly less than honest, but he's not really lying to him when he's telling him to go do it. And Abraham is honest to the point where he's going to he's going to sacrifice his son to God because God told him to. So,
all right, we should just listen to it. Now it sounds like we're doing a reenactment, and I feel my hands and feet getting all tingly. All right, so let's go.
Wait. Am I answering your question? Okay. If I couldn't make that claim about a human being, if a human being said to someone, do this or do that, and then they changed later and told them not to do it, I could not claim that they were lying to begin with because I couldn't know what their frame of mind was. But God is omniscient. So when so when he told Abraham to do that, he knew he wasn't going to have him go through with it. So that is a lie by definition.
Wait, but commanding isn't truth acts.
Danny, wait 1 second.
Wait, you have to tell him that command's not truth acts.
Danny, 1 second. John, if I tell you to go get in your car and then I dive in front of you, stopping you from getting in the car,
you're not a God. You are not a God. You're not omniscient. I'm not omniscient.
Let's just say I am. Let's just say I'm magically.
I'm not going to say you are because you're not. I'm talking about God only. If God says do something and knows he's not going to have a person do it because of his omniscience, that is
Ask him for the argument. Ask him for the argument.
What is
a claim? It's just a claim. Ask him for the argument. Ask him for the argument.
No. What is the definition?
So, all right. This is going to be my opinion. I don't know if anybody agrees with me or not. They don't have to. They have their own opinions. But this, to me, right now, is Danny starting in with his dishonest, I don't know what you want to call it. He's a dishonest interlocutor. He's dishonest in having discussions, okay? Because I did give an argument, okay? I did give an argument there, okay? I didn't sit down and say premise 1, premise 2, conclusion, but I gave an argument. I'm saying, I clearly said, I'm not talking about mankind. I'm not talking about a man. I'm talking about a God who is omniscient, okay? Of course, I could not know whether if a human being speaks a mistruth, I could not know whether that was a lie or it was just a mistake. But my argument is that it's a God and an omniscient God at that. So it has to be a lie. If and these guys don't agree with me. Okay.
Yeah. Can I? No, I just want to say something, John. I think you were being a little too charitable to Danny. Danny's a disingenuous prick.
Okay. I think I referred to him in the in the title, but no. The thing is,
okay, I must have missed that. My bad.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I mean, because the title of the stream is 8 Simple Rules for Being a Condescending Prick. Yeah, that's what it was. But so yeah, I gave my argument. I said why I believe that in a situation of a God who's omniscient, why that situation is a lie, and why I could not make that same claim if it was a person, and that's why I uncharitably, balked at Cerberus's hypothetical situation, is because I was already talking about a God. What probative value was there in me accepting Cerberus's hypothetical that he is a God when we were already talking about a God in the first place? But anybody?
Sorry, I'm just keeping up with the top chat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to ignore the chat too.
He has to support that.
Danny,
shut
up.
I already did support that.
John, this is one of the things. This is one of the things I brought up because one of the issues that comes up about this is that so if God gives this command to Abraham, right, to his kid, right, and he knows that Abraham is ultimately not going to carry it out.
No, because Abraham was willing to carry it out. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about the fact that God knew he was not going to have to carry it out.
Right, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter because his standard of morality is not the same.
I'm not even talking about a standard of morality. I'm talking about what is a lie and what is not a lie. That's a lie.
But you can't lie to a goldfish.
Let's say God knew that Abraham. Let's say he would have known the intention of Abraham, according to Moses. None of that even matters, right? God can be omniscient. God didn't say anything false in that statement.
Yes, he did.
How can it be a lie? How
It's not true. Someone needs to tell him that.
He told a falsehood.
No, commands aren't true or false. If I say if I ask a question,
I'm not willing to hear anybody out on this. I've made my mind up.
Yeah, then this is for the viewers. Let me explain to the viewers.
Hey, hold on, Danny.
You already made your point.
Hey, stop.
God damn it, Danny.
Hang on, stop. No, I mean, John, I agree with Sarah. Like, I mean, based on what's happening in that story, because that's one of the reasons why it's always
like
this
that's
kind
fine.
of
You guys can agree with one another. It's not going to change my mind. I know
Okay, well, let me.
If I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm willing to be wrong. But I'm not. There's nothing that can be said to make me change my view.
Very much like a Christian, like a creationist.
Guys, stop.
You guys can say I'm wrong.
I'm going to make
Stop it.
Stop. John, I understand why you disagree with the morality of the story. That makes sense. You disagree with what God does, with why He gives that command. Why
I never mentioned morality.
No, but I understand why you disagree. Like you dislike what happens in the story, right?
No, that's not what it is. I'm just pointing out.
That's not what John is saying.
Because Christians often say that God cannot and does not lie. Now, Richard at least said he could if he wanted to, but he doesn't. And I'm saying that in that instance and other instances in the Bible, God did lie. I'm not talking about, this moral standard against that moral standard. I'm talking about based on what a lie is, telling a mistruth. Like the scenario that Cerberus painted is more.
Are you having trouble pausing?
The being says, "Do this," and then they change their mind. Like,
what was that?
I thought you were trying to pause, but we're having trouble pausing.
No. I mean, nobody yelled foreskin. But I just want to, get to. I mean, everybody that's here, I think, was there last night. They know what's going on here. There's a point in. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just there. I was there for part of it. Like I watched it, and it was a shit show. And I'm scared because it's like Danny's in the room, but I know he's not. He's on a video.
Well, I mean, and the thing is too is like the reason we're watching this, okay, and you're going to hear Danny go on about saying how wrong I am and everything, and then somebody else is going to come into the room at some point. Somebody that's here with us tonight, and they're going to essentially say the same thing I said, a paraphrase of what I said, and then Danny's going to say, "Oh, I agree with that," and then when I call him out on that, he goes into a explanation of why what I said was different than what the other person said. So.
It's all in how you phrase things, John. Remember that. Well, not you personally, but you in general.
Yeah, and you have to express desire. That's probably what you didn't do.
He will never live that down. I love you, Peter. I love you.
All right, so we good to go on?
Yeah, let's go. Yep. Sorry.
Later. You couldn't claim that that's a lie because they could just simply change their mind. But if a God is omniscient and knows, past, present, future, then He knew when He told Abraham to do that he wasn't going to have to go through with it. And that's a bit of truth. That's a lie.
Look, I've been trying to speak. I've been trying to speak. Look, there's something called a proposition, which is that can be true or false. Okay. A question or a command can't be true or false. If I ask you what time did you eat breakfast, that's not true or false. If I say go eat breakfast, I'm sorry, John.
You know what I ate for breakfast?
Finished. Like, hello. Okay. What I was saying was, if I sorry.
All right, audience. So, do you understand the thumbnail for the video now?
Yep.
All too well, John. All too well.
All too well.
Sorry, sir.
I'm sorry. Can you explain?
Oh, hang on. Let's wrap this up. Hang on. Sir, you want to, instead of going through like a Q&A thing, you want to explain what you meant when you started this thing?
Oh, well, lying's a big thing for me. It's part of my culture. There's a whole thing. Not going to go into it. But the simple fact of knowing I'm not going to let you do the thing I told you to do, it's not saying anything false.
Exactly. He's right. And I was trying to explain why. When you say to someone, go to the bathroom or go get XYZ, that's not true or false. It's just like a question. A question can't be.
All right. So I want to pause it right there. And I want to let the people that are in the room right now that were there last night to take another run at this with me, okay? Because I don't understand that claim or that fact that you're sharing that a command can't be a lie. Okay, I don't understand. I don't see how that could be true at all. Any kind of statement can contain a lie in it. I mean, or a mistruth, if you want to call it that. So
can I jump in, John? Because
sure.
you just said, you just gave the answer yourself. What you said is that a command can be a lie, and then you said a command can contain a lie. Those are two different things, and I think those are the things that Danny was trying to point out, that a command can contain a lie. Not
Holy
necessarily.
shit! John figured it out on his own.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be condescending. I know that came out that way. I'm sorry.
But I'm still not seeing that.
Well, I mean, hold on.
I'm still not seeing that defeats my argument.
Well, yeah, no, but like I'm gonna use your own example, the example you gave Danny. You know what I mean? Because you said, if you tell Danny to go get a left-handed broom, the left-handed broom is a lie, but you telling him to go get it is the command. I think that's what Peter was trying to say.
Yeah, so it's just a different use of words, and Danny's already responding. A command cannot contain a lie. It definitely can.
Okay, so somewhere in this, now I once heard some Christian stream where they were talking about the kind of lie you tell a child in order to make a point or turn a lesson or something, that there's some lesser form of lie that you would, but basically, okay, if I tell you, go kill that dog, but I don't really want you to kill that dog, and I know that I will stop you before you do it, or that it won't happen. So John, you're saying that is a lie, that I said something, implied that I intended for you to do something that I did not intend for you to do?
Well, okay, so if you're saying, like, you're painting the scenario yourself and you are sharing your what you were thinking in your mind when you told him to do it, well, then from the information you're giving me, then yes, I can say, if you told your kid to go kill that dog, and at the whole time you knew you were going to stop him from doing it if you went to attempt it, then right. Yeah, I say that's a lie.
Yeah, it would be dishonest.
Yeah,
but kind of an odd sort of lie.
Being dishonest, if not lying.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. You would be dishonest. You wouldn't necessarily be lying. A command, according to Danny, cannot contain a lie. If I tell Danny to go into the Eiffel Tower that I built, that command contains a lie because I'd never built the Eiffel Tower. And the command can be a part of an overall deception, right? There's a scheme going on. I mean, it's no different than say you've got an issue with, say, criminals, and you've got a new guy that's getting jumped in, and one day they take that guy into a back room, and sitting in a chair is somebody with a hood over their head, and the new guy is handed a pistol in order to shoot this person. Don't take the bag off. You don't know who it is. Just shoot this person in the head. And the young guy points the gun and pulls the trigger, and it's empty. Or maybe it fires a blank. That was part of a deception. What they wanted to happen, they want this new guy to have that experience. They don't have any intention of him actually killing anybody, but they need to know that he'd be willing to do it just because he's told to.
That reminds me of a song, Jefferson.
That reminds me of a Jason Bourne scene.
Well,
right, but it's essentially the same thing, which makes you kind of wonder, like, why is this God putting Abraham through the paces that most gang members get? It's not really that complicated.
So he's got a gang leader or something.
So it's a test for Abraham, but then you have to add, like they were talking about this back there. I'm like, why is it important for God to put Abraham through a test, through an experience in which Abraham now believes, at the beginning, Abraham believes God demands human sacrifices, and then and he needs you to be willing to provide him a human sacrifice upon command, and then once you get to that point, like, no, I needed you to show that you were willing to do that. Now let me show you what I'll do. I'll provide an alternative. Okay, that's kind of a weird trick, right? The best explanation that you get, the way that it's set up, is basically a test of loyalty for Abraham. I told you to kill your son. Go do it. And Abraham does. He's loyal. He's obedient. He goes to do it.
Isn't that some sick shit?
It's a little fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's and going back to Speed's scenario, I'm disappointed in you, Speed.
Why?
Well, you came up with that kill the dog scenario, and you left out like a very obvious one there. Like, you know, when your dad says to you, you know, don't play with it or you'll go blind.
Oh,
is that a reference to something?
But you know, my mind never goes there, John. That's why I have you on the channel. So
okay, that's cool, awesome. Midnight. You're a little younger than the rest of us. That's just something that was in the zeitgeist for a long time. Of, you know, that they would tell you something like that. You know,
John, can I just say something that I typed in the chat?
Yeah, go ahead.
Danny didn't see my example that I just gave. And that is the problem with uttering words. You can't see words. Here's where you need to listen, something that you don't seem capable of, and that's why that's a problem.
Hey, Danny, they give you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Yeah, if I give you an example and I do that using words, and I understand words don't have meaning unless there's here spelled out in the clouds, which isn't actually a word, but it's you're confusing.
Well, and when we get going here, we're gonna see another discussion of words and you know, Danny claiming that people are guilty of logical fallacies that they're not guilty of, and you know, people trying to explain to him some stuff, and he'll show very well that he doesn't listen.
I need to explain. So I need to dumb it down for Danny a little. Danny, if I speak a word, you cannot see the word I speak. I know there are words on paper, as you explained. There are words in the sky which aren't actually words, but pareidolia. But a word I speak, you cannot see that. You can make it visible.
I can see it in my mind, Peter.
Yeah, reality is not like a panel cartoon.
But you're a wizard. That doesn't count.
The word that you speak is not in a bubble hanging off the side of your mouth, you know, like in a cartoon.
Okay, yeah. Can I say something to Danny really quick? And look, I know Danny. I know that I dislike you or whatever the hell, but you really need to change how you approach people. Like, I used to be shit at talking to people. Mind you, I still could use a bit of practice, definitely. But you really got to change how you approach people. Calling people dumbasses doesn't really help. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know. You know, on Speed's channel, you know, John always, like, you know what I mean? You know, John or everyone else.
And you made me think of that. Okay, and here's the thing. You know, you asked Speed, like, anytime I've ever got up the deep end, the first thing I've done after it was over was I call him on the phone and say, man, I was an asshole. Like, you know, and like the thing is, and I don't know why it is, but like, yeah, I'll go like full on Tourette's and call Danny every name in the book. But there's something about the way Danny does it that seems more objectionable, you know, so people call him out for the way he talks to people, yet they don't really say anything to me when I, you know, go all guttural and, you know, call him every name in the book. And I think the difference is because the way he does it, it's not just a straight out in your face, you know, you're wrong. I don't particularly care for you, like Midnight just said. You're kind of sneaky about it, Danny. But you think people aren't going to get it, but they do get it. That's the problem. You think you're being clever and sneaky, but you're not.
Well, there's another problem. There's another problem. He just addressed that in the chat. Danny, if you look at your mouse, it has 2 buttons. In the middle, there's a tiny little wheel. With that tiny little wheel, you can scroll up in the side chat and actually see my message that you missed. So here's the thing you learned. I mean,
well, that's pretty. That's like Danny. I don't know how people can get through to you. Right, you're just too. You're not humble at all. All right, you're not humble at all.
I want to highlight this line from Cerberus X because Danny's going off about how it's all an echo chamber, and Cerb said, Danny, they may or may not like the echo, but you really like yelling into the void.
Oh God, I love Cerb.
Oh, he just asked me a question. He said, Peter, let me come in. Well,
No.
Danny, I would, but keep in mind, you're the guy who told me that you're not interested in a conversation. So I have no reason whatsoever to let you in. And also, it's not my room. It's up to John. And unlike you, I respect people's channels, people who are actually running the stream. I respect those people.
I think I'm just gonna.
Question for Danny, if you don't mind. I think Danny would be less aggravating if he went and smoked 3 packs a day of Pall Mall Straights for 2 years and came back on. I think it would help.
Just let the cigarette, just let that nicotine and tar just like wear down on the life force a little bit. Dial it back.
A little bit of gravel in that voice would be helpful.
There's nothing quite like a mid-morning panic attack because you've had 5 cigarettes and a pot of coffee, and you overdid it and you realize you're mortal. That really snaps it too.
Call me egotistical, but I really can't win until my part comes up.
Yeah. And before we start the play the tape, before we play the tape further, and there's a boomer thing, tape. Yeah, not on tape anymore. But yeah, as far as what you guys were saying when I stopped it and said, "Well, here, take another run at me at this," what I'm hearing, like I heard you guys using the word dishonest and deception. I mean, it almost sounds like we're kind of arguing semantics here. I mean, because dishonesty, deception, lying, they're all under the same kind of umbrella, aren't they?
Why, John, are you accusing us of being Danny right now? Because that's a little insulting.
But again, I would blow it back out to my original part of the argument that I was making, that if God is deceiving Abraham, right, he has the ability to do that. Right, from most, I think most Christians are not going to accuse God of being a bad guy for flooding all of the world except for Noah and his family. That was ostensibly a good thing. It doesn't matter that babies died. It doesn't matter that he killed a bunch of animals either, right? He was doing it because he's the creator and he can wipe people out. So the fact that he's telling Abraham that he wants him to sacrifice his son doesn't really rank on his things. He can't do anything bad, right? By definition, he's the creator God. So from a human perspective, if you anthropomorphize God, what he did is kind of sleazy and smacks of like being like a gang leader or something. But if you're gonna like try to stay consistent with the whole creation distinction stuff, he's not really he is deceiving Abraham, but it's not bad.
Well, from a Christian standpoint, sure, but
right. If you were gonna,
I judge things from my standpoint. But okay. Let's go back to this. Danny saying no, deception and lying are different. Well, I would say that to deceive someone, a good way of doing it would be lying to them about facts.
Right. I guess the idea of a lie poses what you call a proposition, which can be false, right? So if I tell you that I'm eating breakfast, I am eating breakfast could be true or false. And so that's a necessary condition for a lie, right? That it has to be propositional content that you're trying to communicate.
No.
Well, yeah, you don't understand what I said, John. So you can.
No, you're right. I never understand you, Danny.
John. I mean, essentially, what's been like, God is telling Abraham to go do a thing. He's not saying that a thing is happening and that it's actually the case that that's not true.
Well, yeah. To me, the problem is with the premise that he already knows what will happen. So, what is the purpose of the test in the first place? Right? Like,
that's actually a better question, especially theologically.
Well, I think I have a way I could relate this to John, if I could just for a minute. John, I think what's saying is if the text had read, go and do, and I'm not going to stop you, that would make it a lie.
Well, no, it's a lie the way I paint it. I mean, I'm
he already seems irrational.
Danny, shut up.
Oh, I cut it right off and telling Danny, shut the fuck up. That's what I said. I told him, shut the fuck up. So, Dan, that's another thing I want to point out. And Danny does this to everybody, okay? Speed quite a bit. And I got to tell you something, Danny. You might have a point with me on different things that I, don't know this, don't know that. But you are so you got Speed fucked up, dude, okay? Because compared to what Speed knows, you're like a little babe in the woods, dude. But
I wouldn't even go that far, John. But that's because my opinion of him is lower than yours.
Oh, okay. But here's the thing: is he does that if you
higher, whatever. Go ahead.
If you do not agree with Danny's point, then you didn't understand him, or that you are aren't knowledgeable enough, in the philosophy to know what he's talking about. He never considers the fact that he could be wrong or that he isn't explaining something properly. It's that you as the listener, you as the person receiving his information, don't understand.
Yeah. Don't agree or don't get his meaning is something that happens a lot with Danny. And he thinks it's because he's uttering a deepity that is absolutely true and perfect. That in his mind it is. And what you're actually doing is looking at the fringes, like he's claiming that only a proposition can be, a lie can only be about a proposition, I think. I don't know. It's hard to figure out what the fuck he's claiming, because now that I said that, he's going to say, no, I'm not saying that. He's saying something else. But I think he's saying that a lie can only be about a proposition. It can't be a command, whereas there's a wider version of lie, like lies of omission, or like I'm lying to you by convincing you that I have some intent that I don't, and we would call that a lie, right? I mean,
right? Yeah, like there's others that, there's lies of omission, there's overt lies, there's overt lies.
I'm surprised nobody mentioned gaslighting yet.
Because we have.
Oh yeah, if you hadn't interrupted me, I probably would have got to it.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Whoa, what the fuck was that? A big boom outside. Did you hear that thunder?
No, I didn't.
Oh shit. Anyway, hang on a second. But if Danny had ever been married, he would know that there is a much wider definition of lying, right?
Yeah.
Because women teach us that. So
I mean, I can't. The views expressed by the guests on this channel are not necessarily the views of the channel owner or the channel itself.
Okay, thank you.
Just had to put that out there. I mean, and I can't remember all of them, but there's.
Okay, he said that's not what I'm saying. Okay, he's not saying that only. Okay, a lie could only be expressed with a proposition.
So. And when we could run it back and show where that's exactly what he said.
I think that
might be something. But there's I don't know if anybody in here knows, but there's what is it? There's like 4 or 5 different categories. The lies with omission. There's overt lies. There's there's several of them that I'm forgetting now. But
now he's claiming I have memory loss. Danny, you're a fucking weenie.
I'm allowed to disagree with people. That's fine, John. That's fine, John. People in here that look at it one way, I look at it the way I look at it, and you guys can look at it the way you look at it.
Yeah, you're allowed to be irrational. You're allowed to be irrational. Okay. That's fine, John.
Guys, stop doing the prize fighting thing. Simon's going on.
What I'd like to say is, if God commands somebody that says, "I want you to do X, Y, or Z," he's not saying this will happen. Right? He's not saying, look, he's not going to Abraham and saying, Abraham, you will sacrifice your son.
Right, and I agree with that characterization.
So just test it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that the characterization of what he said, his command to Isaac. Okay, but to me, the way I look at it, it's still a lie.
That's fine.
Here's the thing: philosophy is flexible. I'm allowed to have my own beliefs based on my own logic, and that's why y'all disagree with me.
I think logic is either it's not yours or somebody else's. I mean, logic is logic. It's subjective. That's the point.
No, because logic is a polysemous term. Of course, people can have their own logic.
Right.
All right. I want to stop it right here, okay? Because, all right. First of all, many philosophers that I've talked to or that know about philosophy will tell you that, philosophy is not an empirical science, okay? They will tell you that philosophers disagree on points all the time. And within philosophy, there are different theories on different matters in philosophy, and people have their own way of looking at it. There's philosophers that are coming up with new concepts, Okay, so this idea that the phrase that I uttered, that a person can't have their own logic. I mean, based on the fact that the word logic can be used in speech in many different ways, and the fact that philosophy is not like a set fucking like science or anything. I mean, if you go out there and you ask 5 philosophers a question, you might get 5 different answers.
Yeah, but John, logic is closer to mathematics than philosophy.
Right.
So if you're trying to say it's your own philosophy or if it's your own line of reasoning, that's fine. But if you try to say you've got your own logic, that's a different proof you've got to provide, because you're talking about like a system of representing arguments or facts or systems or set theory or whatever.
You've never heard the word logic used colloquially in a sentence?
No, not like no. I've got my own logic. I've heard people say that I've got my reasons, I've got my own theories, I've got my own philosophy. I've heard that used colloquially, but if somebody were to say I've got my own logic, it'd be like, no, that'd be like saying I've got my own math.
Yeah, give them that one, John.
I'm not going to, because I've heard the word logic used in fucking English many times when people were not talking about
but aren't they using the word colloquially?
Talking about formal logic or academic logic. I mean, what's the logic in that? Or hey, how did you logic that? I mean, I understand what you're saying, that for people who are philosophical, that can only mean one thing. But if you, I can't. I mean, this is another instance where maybe you're right, and I'm not there. Sorry.
No, John, you should go. Sorry. You missed. You missed.
I mean, this just blows my mind hearing this now after what Cerberus, you're going to hear Cerberus saying coming up, because Danny's going to accuse me of an equivocation. And then Cerberus explains that he knew what I was saying, that I wasn't equivocating because I was using it both colloquially and for it to be an equivocation, I would have had to have been using it in 2 different ways. And then I the way I remember it, you didn't give Cerberus any blowback on his characterizations last night, Jefferson. So that's why I'm a little confused right now.
Well, let's listen to it again. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And John, I'm not trying to give you blowback. I'm just trying to say, like,
no. I'm not saying that like you're doing anything wrong. I mean, as far as I'm being stubborn here, I'm smart enough to know that you know more about this shit than I do, and I should just accept it. But I just can't get my mind there because, like I said, I have my own logic, and I'm allowed to. Fuck all you guys.
Right.
Like creationists have their own logic. John Petersen has his own logic. Very simple.
But I think what logic is, A equals A, the law of non-contradiction, etc. Those are rejected. They're nothing to do with your opinion.
But before we dismiss all of John's claims about this, it's not the issue. It's not the first part of the claim. The fact that God tells Abraham to go up and sacrifice his son is not the part that is the issue. The issue is that there's an aftermath of this. Like, if this comes to pass, Abraham's son is definitely going to be dead, sacrificed to Yahweh. Yahweh knows that this isn't going to come to happen because he's going to provide a goat. So the second half of this agreement, where he's like, I need you to go do this, whether he does it or not, is going to require a certain amount of intervention from Yahweh, one way or the other. And the fact that Abraham does go through with it, Abraham provides a sacrificial goat in the stead of his son. So I think in that case, that's where someone like where John would say that's dishonest, because he knew in the end, if he does go through with it, he's not going to actually have to sacrifice his son. He's just going to a sacrificial goat is going to be provided to him. So in a way, it's dishonest in a way.
Well, I can agree that it's dishonest.
You might be equivocating on dishonest there.
Or deceptive, but I wouldn't say it's a lie. I mean,
it's not necessarily a lie, no, but it's also not honest.
Jefferson, it's not important, but it's highly important to me. It's not a goat.
What's that?
It's not that he would be doomed if they ate from the tree, the forbidden tree, and that's not.
Did somebody say foreskin?
Yeah, I just want to say, John, you're gonna make me agree with Danny, aren't you? Because of the last comment.
Oh, why from coffee or?
No, Danny. You know, Danny. This is embarrassing for you. What did he say?
John Petersen is embarrassing for you. Just concede to Jefferson Spatchcock.
Yeah, you're gonna make me agree with Danny. I'm just teasing you, John.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, when it comes to that, then I might have to agree with Danny. I mean, the only thing I could probably one up Jefferson on is like maybe eating pizza. I don't
know. I need to just laugh tonight.
So there's another blatant dishonesty.
No, he didn't lie there either. He just
Jefferson, can I weigh in on this?
Can you?
Richard was trying to say something.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like defend the guy. Like I don't have a gripe in this fight. I'm just saying, like, if you end up trying to get into an issue, if you're going to have a disagreement, especially with like a theist, and you accuse this God of lying, and they're like, well, that's not exactly what he's doing, and you use an argument like Cerberus does, you're basically dead in the water, because you don't really have a way of saying that he's being a liar per se. He's not. Now you could accuse him of being kind of tricky or a little bit mysterious or any of these other kinds of things, and then a Christian theist can come around and say, well, that's a beneficial thing. Jefferson, or it's part of the Judaism.
Can I weigh in?
Sure. Who was it that wanted to get the statement in?
Richard was trying to say something.
Yeah, Peter, hang on. Let Richard say one thing, and then Peter.
It wasn't important. I'll default for Peter.
Okay, go ahead, Peter.
Okay, so as far as I know, God says, Bible, I want you to go do this and this and this and this.
Yes.
Okay, if he says, I want you to, knowing full well that that's not what he wants him to do, it's a lie.
But I already brought
this up. If he knows what he's going to do in future, that is a lie. That is done on purpose. Telling someone that you want him to do something when you know that's not actually what you want him to do, but you want to test people. That's a lie.
I don't know that. I don't know that I agree with that.
No, I agree with that, but that's why a lot of cases.
Boom. Fucking boom. Right.
Foreskin.
Well, yeah, he fucking ripped on me for several minutes. Peter comes in and makes the same claim I made. Oh, I agree with that, the little fucker says.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's only how the phrasing is done, right, Peter? Or John?
Yeah,
it's all about the fucking deceptive phrasing that Danny uses. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I have to say that I just Googled the Bible and looked at all versions. God did not say, I want you to. He just said, go there and do this. So, but I still stand with my point. If God says, I want you to do this and this and this, knowing full well that that's not what he wants him to do, then it's a lie.
Well, wait, hold on. If God says, I want you to go there and do this. No, hold on. Repeat what you said. Go there and do this.
Yeah,
right?
If God says, I want you to do such and such, and he knows full well that he does not want you to do that because he's going to interfere later, then that's a lie, because then he's expressing a want that he doesn't have, which is a lie.
You missed opportunity to say desire, but moving on.
I didn't, because I was trying to count the sorries that Thomas put in the side chat, and I didn't want to interfere one running joke with another.
Well, fair enough. But yeah, Danny, you're never gonna live that joke down. Hell, there are some jokes I'll never live down, but whatever.
Well,
and just because, so I need to drop off soon because I've got a pretty important stream that I need to run, a private one.
Right. Yeah, you were telling us about that earlier. Right?
Yeah, John. When it comes to stubborn, I do have a follower on Twitter who once took 2 whole hours to convince me that I was wrong, and it really took him 2 hours to convince me. I'm convinced now, but yeah, you're not the only one who's stubborn.
Well, I think I'm going to be in the end more stubborn than you, because on this thing about whether God lied in that situation, I may hang on to that shit for a while. I mean, Jefferson might actually have to literally drive down here and hit me over the head with a baseball bat a few times.
Smack you in the
I mean,
I don't use baseball bats. I use oars. I start with an oar.
No. I don't think I don't think that would be necessary, because Jefferson actually likes you. Danny, after last night, I'm not too sure about.
No, I don't dislike Danny entirely.
Yeah, but you don't like him either. So there you go.
I didn't like what he was doing.
Oh, Jefferson, please send Danny a boat oar and my address.
Come on.
Jefferson, can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Would you ride from, say, Minnesota to Texas down I-35 with Danny in the car?
Am I allowed to use sedatives?
No, you're driving, dumbass.
I meant to Danny.
Well, no, wait, hold on. Today in the comments section, I asked him the perfect question. Would you rather be in a room with 9 Christians or Danny? He's like, I picked Danny because at least Danny wouldn't kick me out. And I'm like, you're either brave or insane.
No, you left out the comparison. You said 9 Christians for 3 hours or Danny for 1. And
fair enough.
And I was like, here's the thing. I probably would get kicked out by at least one of the 9 before I ever got through with anything. But if they kept me in for the full 3 hours, that's 3 hours lost. I'd be better off. I'd be better off engaging with 1 hour with Danny.
Speed, can I answer your question?
Yeah.
My answer to that question would be yes.
Wow.
With one small provision, that the car would be a panel van, fully insulated, and Danny would be in the back,
hog-tied and gagged and bound with duct tape.
Yeah, and I need a decent stereo system in the front to drown any noise that is still coming through.
I would kill him with kindness. I would roll up in a limousine, and when he got in there would be like a small roulette table, fully stocked bar, maybe some prostitutes.
Now, do you know where
and I drive down, and then once we get to our location, I leave the limo. That's it.
You know what I do? I turn off on a side street.
I think that is abhorrent, that you would actually put a few women into the same.
I didn't say they'd be female, Peter. You just assumed that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I was going off of the fact that there is a female going back and forth.
Hey,
when Danny's on camera, so I'm just going off of that. But so the fact that you would put people in there with him, and you would pay them to
I don't know
how much would you pay them?
Hold on a second. Here's a perfect thing for Danny. You pull off at an exit, go through a town like fucking 80 miles an hour, and when you're approaching a stop sign, you ask Danny, "What's the meaning of stop?"
I don't know what that means, Speed. I don't know what that means. What are you saying?
Yeah, how does he navigate? How does he navigate on the roads? Like, yield? Wow, what's meant by that? Smack.
On the other hand, it could also be a panel then that isn't insulated, but I could do all kinds of break tests along the way and then listen to Danny screaming that he wants to get out and then ask him whether or not he's expressing desire or he's just giving me a command that I can ignore.
You could just make it more subtle. I would do something that was really kind of passive aggressive. So it'd be like a van or like an SUV, but I would have myself cordoned off. I'd be wearing ear protection, and then I would just play like the most annoying Nickelback or Creed song I could find on a loop. Like otherwise, perfectly. I'm not doing anything. But despite any of his protests or anything, it's like, yep, here's some McDonald's. No, the Nickelback song doesn't stop. It doesn't stop until we get to Texas.
So did somebody time Danny out in the chat? I see he's here on his channel account now. Did somebody time him out or something?
I think somebody did because a bunch of his messages got deleted. I don't know who.
Oh shit! Don't do that. We need Danny info. We need Danny data.
Well, guys, I'm going to hop off. I've got an hour and a half to get ready for my stream. So
yeah, I've got a half an hour to get ready for a intense philosophy discussion on something Kafai would love, the perennial philosophy.
Ooh, where is it? What stream?
Cafe. Hey, speaking of Cafe, he had the balls to. Well, I put it up, but if anybody didn't catch it, he had the balls to post in the chat, John, it's better to let people think you're an idiot than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Like Cafe telling people that. That's
whoa, that is so deep, man.
Yeah, coming from Cafe, I would really look at that message really closely and then
of course
decide whether or not you are the appropriate person to post that.
Yeah, that's like Cafe saying the sky is blue and me not believing him. Yeah, sorry, Cafe.
It's Angelo Grasshole. Oh, okay, Grasshole. Now that I said it out loud, it's not the real thing, but he says
half hour to get rid of Tucker Carlson.
But guys, I need to jump off. John,
right,
thanks for sending me the invite. If you talk to Knock, tell him I said hi. And
okay, I'll be talking to him either later tonight or first thing in the morning.
Hey, John, apologies. Can I jump off?
Well, yeah. I mean,
okay.
Are you expressing the desire to jump off?
What do you mean by that?
Do you need me to command you to leave so that?
Please, yeah, because I'm too nice to leave on my own.
Speed, Peter, get the fuck out of here.
Goodbye, John. Goodbye, John.
Jefferson,
wait, hold on. What channel?
I'll send you an email.
It's not on a channel at midnight. It's
okay.
It's a local philosophy meetup. Sorry.
Oh, it's in real life. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. And
Bye.
everyone in the side chat, don't forget to like and subscribe.
I gotta go.
There. I said it.
See you, Peter.
All right.
Catch you later, guys.
Later, guys. Yeah, so we're going to go here a little bit longer. Let's see. I don't think we're going to.
God phrases it as a command, not an expression of desire, right? When I say go to the store, that doesn't
Wait a minute, Danny, hold on. So Peter's right. I literally said the same thing.
No, you were talking about commands, right? Look, there's a difference between. Excuse me, sorry. So let me respond. Hello. Sorry.
So you can hear Red Fang as I'm calling Danny out for this. You can hear Red Fang in the background chuckling his head off, like.
Yeah. You know what? I always liked Red Fang's laugh. But Danny, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and then here's the thing. And shortly, maybe we won't get to it till we look at this some other day again. But shortly, Danny's going to try and get out from underneath his obvious and blatant contradiction here by accusing me of equivocating when I use the word logic. Now, according to the way that Jefferson looks at it, if the way Jefferson describes the word logic, if that's true, then I was equivocating. Okay, but I say that there's a colloquial usage of the word logic. There's formal logic. There's academic logic. But There's
Quantum
also
logic.
colloquial
Boolean.
use of the word logic. When I said I had my own logic, I certainly was not saying I have my own, my own analog to formal logic or academic logic.
Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. Look, let me.
Hang on. Well, guys, who's lighting the?
Darth Danny, it's not your room. Calm down.
It's not your room either. People are over talking me.
Yeah, stop lighting the dumpster. This isn't necessary.
Can we just remember that we're talking about a character that's like Thanos? We're not talking about real.
Tangelo Grassel. At no time did I or anybody try and draw a distinction between formal and academic logic. I use those as descriptors for that logic. I mean, I'm making a different. I'm talking about the word logic and how it can be used differently in depending on what you're communicating. But
I'm going to respond to what he said. There's a difference between a command and an expression of a desire. Look, Jefferson, are you not moderating? He's over talking me. Look, I'm trying to say when you say go through the. Excuse me. Sorry.
Guys, hang on. Whoa. Let Danny finish what he's going to say.
You can hear what I'll mute when he's talking. I'll wait for Mike to.
Yep. Let him finish this
Okay.
explanation.
All it's very.
And I'm going to admit now that when I said that, I literally deafened my computer and just watched Danny's like fucking avatar glow when he was talking. And as soon as he stopped, his avatar stopped glowing. I turned the speaker back on to listen to what people were saying to him. Yep, I'm kind of crazy sometimes.
We're all crazy, John. After all, why do you think I'm here?
Yeah.
Very quick. Go to the store does not necessarily express a desire. Whereas if Peter says, and in this way,
muted right now.
Okay. When I said that, when Peter said, if I were to express, I want to go to the store, knowing that there's no such desire, that is a lie. Or if you say, I will want to go to the store, and you know that you will not want to go to the store, that is a lie. But if
Danny, that's different. That's different, Danny.
Yeah, actually, I want to hang on.
It's not I want to go to the store. It's I want you to go to the store. As in commanding. Go to the store.
That doesn't apply. That doesn't follow, right? It doesn't follow that if you give a command that there's a desire, or vice versa, because the idea of a command is that it's not truth apt, but desires are truth apt.
No, Danny, I think in this particular case, I agree more with Peter. If God, in these particular stories, whether God's saying, I want you to do this, or I command you to do this, that's really kind of splitting hairs. In the end, he's essentially he's giving instructions to an individual to go do a certain thing, either because, one, he wants it done, or two, he merely commands it done and it maybe isn't part of his actual will. Either way, that's sort of like splitting hairs.
Wait, are you disagreeing with me that that you can't get something non-propositional from a proposition?
Danny, can I ask you a question?
No, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that from either one of those perspectives, whether he's saying, I want you to go do this, that's one, or two, I command you to go do this, that either one of those imply a lie if the result doesn't occur.
We agree on.
All right, so, and here again, now I'm confused again, and again, Jefferson, I'm not. If because I'm fired up by watching this and everything, if you're like hear some kind of tone in me that makes you think I'm like going at you or not agreeing with what you're saying, that's not the case. I want to clarify for my own edification. Because like right there with what you were saying, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it sounds like you're kind of agreeing with me there about that being a lie.
Yeah, I didn't put that very well. I kind of misspoke. What I meant was, like, I still believed in the idea that if God is issuing a command, whether he desires the outcome or not, if he knows ultimately that that's not the result, is not going to be what what would follow naturally from the command he issued, then it implies a deception. It implies dishonesty. Whether you want to get into the semantics of whether or not the command itself is by definition a lie or not, okay, it doesn't really matter. But I was kind of pushing back on this thing where Danny's trying to say that, well, just because he's saying that he's telling someone to do something, that doesn't mean that's what he wants. That's partially true, but in order for Abraham to do that, Abraham's doing that because he thinks that's what God wants.
Mm-hmm.
He's been commanded to do that. I mean, if Danny went back and asked and got that kind of, like, and started parsing the meanings of those phrases right down to it, and like, Abraham, do you think God's just telling you to do this because it's like an exercise, or does he want this to happen? Like, well, if God is telling me that I should go do this and sacrifice my son, is because he wants a sacrifice. That kind of follows just as an implication of it. But it is the case that, yeah, you could issue a command to someone and not really desire the outcome of it. And it's not necessarily, in that case, it's not necessarily dishonest either. You could tell somebody to go do something and you don't really and issue that command, and you don't want them. You actually don't want them. Managers do this all the time. If you have subordinates and you have a task that has to be done and you don't agree with it, but you're following the law or a procedure, then you tell them, I need, go do this. You don't want that done. You don't like the results that are going to happen, but you've issued the command.
Well, and that's where, I'm being so stubborn on kind of like that point there, and why because all the examples that you and the other fellows were bringing up to, get me to see that I was wrong on that. And you're using examples of humans. And I, from the very beginning, was distinguishing between the fact that, I'm talking about an omniscient being. I can see what, like when you paint a scenario and you're talking about a human, that's different as far as when you're talking about a God, an omniscient God. That's where I'm hung up on it, is because he supposedly knows everything. So if he gives somebody a command that he already knows, like somebody had brought up, I think it was Kevin Chaos had brought up that, well, he's omniscient, he knows the outcome of everything, so why does he even have to put him through this test? I think you brought that up too at one point, Jefferson. But it's the idea that when he gives the command and he supposedly knows everything, he knows in that exact moment when he, gives Abraham the command, that he will not have Abraham go through with it. So right. Abraham is standing there thinking, my God desires me to sacrifice my son, has every idea in his mind that he is going to take his son up the mountain and kill him. He does not know that God is going to stop him in the end and give him a goat. So, I mean, I just can't get past that. Like, I can accept.
But I mean, even if, the thing is, and I think probably one of the better apologetics to this, and it kind of saves the story, but I still think it brings up other issues. Isn't so much that, obviously there's a problem because, and lots of believers wrestle with this story, right? Like, why would he send him up there to kill his kid? Why would that even be a thing for him to command? And then Abraham actually starts to do it. And then he's like, no, look at how great I am. I've provided a sacrifice instead. Like, did you need a human sacrifice to begin with? Like, you'd think that Abraham would start shooting Yahweh the side eye at this point. But the apologetic that I used to hear was, yeah, sure, God knew how this was going to play out. This was all part of his plan. He needed Abraham to have that experience for some reason.
Yeah, it just sounds like to me the Bible is just a bunch of stories written down.
Well,
stories and whatever. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, and as far as from, like, me and Jefferson brought up a little bit ago about how fucked up is it that Abraham agreed to do it, but then it just dawned on me that I could see that shit was real, which it ain't. I'll say it. Abraham looking at that like, oh wow, God wants me to sacrifice Isaac, so he gets to go to heaven, and that's a good thing.
There's actually a worse implication too. That's something I've read from some Old Testament scholars, was that if that story, the way it kind of gets translated for us, we look at it and we're like, especially when Christians look at it, they're like, well, why would God even mess around with this idea that Abraham needs to sacrifice his son to him? God, this isn't a God that's about human sacrifice. He's supposed to find that notion repellent. Well, there's a weirder idea about that. Like if that story was coming from some of these other Canaanite traditions and stuff, the idea that Abraham might be required to sacrifice his son to his God, his particular patron God, wasn't unknown to Abraham, and it was probably a common practice. So, and this is one of the weirder things too, and there are people that don't like this take on it because it downgrades Abraham's faith. Because the Christian message from it is like, look at how, and in some cases even the Judaistic message of it is, look at how faithful Abraham was, how tortured he must have been, how he had to wrestle with this thing that he had to sacrifice his own child to a God upon command. It's like that wouldn't have been foreign to Abraham necessarily, given the land that he lived in and the times he was living in. The real change is the end, when this God's like, no, I'm not that kind of God. You don't have to kill your kid. In fact, I will provide the sacrifice for you. Burn this instead. That's the weird part in the story. If you wanted, and that's what some scholars think, like, if you're Abraham, if you're thinking about it from the terms of like this historical perspective, that would have been the shocker. It wouldn't have been the fact that a God wanted you to kill a kid. That wasn't uncommon.
Yeah, but Jefferson, Bob works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways.
Well, yeah, that's Abraham's lesson at the end, right? Like this God's not going to do the human sacrifice thing like Baal and any of these other cults would normally do.
Well, one argument you can make is that God is fucking sadistic as hell. But if that was the case, if he really knows what's going to happen, why the fuck would he put him through? Like, for fuck's sake, there's so many arguments.
Because he needed him to go through the motions. This is one explanation. He needed him to go through the basic motions that a lot of other pagan believers would have taken for granted at the time, which is, you sacrifice kids. A child sacrifice to a God is something that you do to show your loyalty. Well, and so he issues the command. Abraham does it, and then he interrupts it and is like, "Nope, here's a sacrificial goat, and instead, I'm not going to ask you to do this anymore." That's the kind of God I am.
Honestly, I would love to meet the person who wrote that and ask them, what the fuck were you thinking when you wrote that? Like, was he high?
Well, look, I just got to point out, and I'm really going to be pissed at Nakasuchi if he goes through with this.
Oh God,
because Danny said at the Rage, let me in the room, and then the Rage responded, "Oh, okay, at Danny, I'll send you a link." And then Danny said at the Rage, "Oh, nice. Yeah, boy, I'll tell you what, man." And then
I thought you said at the beginning.
Hold on. And then Doubting Thomas said, "Wait for it, Danny." Yeah, wait for it, Danny. Wait for it. But go ahead, Jefferson.
No, I thought you had said something at the beginning about Rage letting people in. Oh, that was LPP, I think. Never mind.
But yeah, if you get that link, Danny, come on in right away.
Dr. Josh is in the live chat too, so maybe he's got something Old Testament to add to this take on. I don't know if he's ever dealt with this. I'm sure he and Skylar have talked about this story before.
Good evening, everyone. Well, we're going to be wrapping this up here in like 10 minutes. But yeah, if you wanted to come in, Dr. Josh, I can send you the link on Twitter.
Yeah, it's always interesting. It's always interesting to hear Dr. Josh talk. Just no Danny, obviously.
Yeah.
It's like also Jefferson in your comment section. Did you notice how you said, "Oh, midnight? Why did you run from our conversation?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I ran. Cool."
Fucking Danny says at the Rage. Oh, you weren't serious about giving me the link? Dumbass, when I'm fucking running the stream, I'm the one behind the rage account, you dumbass.
Well, I mean, is Nakasuchi also watching and on his account? Because
no, he's not.
I don't know.
No, because Danny started tagging the rage, and I went back to see if he was here, and I didn't see the rage. But I saw where I had used it at the beginning, but no, it's okay. Just listening in. This is from Dr. Josh. If there is a specific question, I can try to answer it. So there you go, guys, for the last 10, 15 minutes of the show. If you have a question that is in Dr. Josh's bailiwick, tag him in the chat, and he will answer.
That's not my claim. Was this that a desire doesn't get you to a command, and a command doesn't get you to a desire? They're meaningfully different.
Danny, I don't care. Can I ask you a question?
Well, that's the whole point.
You know what isn't?
Totally, you're not getting this.
Danny, can I ask you a question?
Before
guys, hold on.
I want to point out that I already pointed it out to start with. It was the first thing I said to John Petersen was, even if he said the words "I want," you could want conflicting things and know that you're not going to actually go follow through on one of them.
Not if you're God.
That was established at the beginning, so I don't understand why this is happening.
I'd love to clarify something because, so Danny, basically what you're saying is we can just ignore the commandments that God gives in the Bible because they're not things that he wants, so there's no reason to follow up on those commands.
That's not what I'm saying. It could be that a command is obligatory, but it doesn't express the subject's desires.
It can.
If
All
it
right,
doesn't
foreskin.
do that, so why did God put up the 10 commandments, which are a lot more, 600 something? So why were those commandments instead of God expressing that was his desire for people to do?
The problem is that those commands, I agree with you that if the commands actually don't indicate the reason or the explanation of, or we can't get to God's mental states from those commands.
So we can discard them.
I mean, I agree. I think that
they're
there's going to be a
arbitrary.
problem of interpretation. There's going to be a big problem of interpretation.
You can't get to the mental states of the human in that situation. But you can
talking about the
hold on, I'm not done. Sorry. Okay.
Hang on, guys. I just want to call to attention. Kevin appeared on camera to slap his face, slap his forehead. All right, so I want to try to.
Wait, let me finish my sentence, though. Okay, he's right. You can't know a person's mental states in that situation, but because of God's the claimed attributes that God has, you can know his mental state. Okay, he knew he was going to have to go through. Hold on. And the other thing is, you said a command cannot be a lie. Say you work for me in my grocery store, and you're the new guy, and I tell you, hey, Danny, go to the back room and get a left-handed broom. There's a command. It's a lie also.
I don't see how
it's even John. It's even funnier. You can tell Danny you can command him to go to the back room, get a broom, and when he does it and comes back to you, you can fire him for that because that wasn't what you wanted.
Sure, nothing turns on that, right? The point is that what proposition are you lying about?
But hold on a second, Danny. I already put a proposition in front of you before Peter spoke. I tell you to go to the back room and get
That's not a proposition.
Wait a minute. I tell you to go to the back room and get a left-handed broom.
That's not a proposition.
No, it's a command. I'm telling you as my employee.
Okay, so I don't know whether that's Danny obfuscating and trying to play dumb, to stick to his plan of I have to be wrong in every situation. I mean, he has to show me to be wrong in every situation. But he was saying that a command cannot be a lie. Ergo, my example, And now he's going back and saying, but that's not a proposition. But that's not a proposition. Right, Danny? It's not a proposition because you were talking about commands at the time, not propositions. So I don't know if that's an example of his intellectual dishonesty or if, he just like had a brain aneurysm at that moment. Anybody? Bueller?
Well, yeah, sorry. I was like muted and I have like 20, not really 20 chats, but yeah, I'm getting kind of tired of Danny. Get me wrong, it's your stream. You can run it however you want and I can leave anytime, but it's just like, Danny, grow up or change.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We're almost done, and we're going to actually back it up and listen to like the last 20 seconds again, because Danny still don't get it in the live chat. Okay, he said, John Petersen, does anyone know what he's talking about? What the fuck else? John Petersen, what? John Petersen, it's not a proposition. No shit, dude. You were talking about commands at the moment, and you said a command cannot be a lie. So I don't know whether my example was a good one or not, but I was giving an example of a command that had a mistruth that I would characterize as a lie. Whether I'm right or wrong about my example, we were talking about commands in the moment.
I just wanted to say something that's unrelated to this. Like, whenever I'm feeling shit, whenever I'm feeling down about myself, I think at least I'm not Danny, and I immediately become happy. So thank you, Danny, for being you.
Yeah, it's kind of like my sister and my mom. They watch Hoarders because it makes them feel so good about how their house.
Propositions.
Guys, if you don't get the broom, you're gonna die.
No.
Okay, sure.
And burn in hell for eternity.
I was speaking to the fact that he claimed that man can be a lie in many different ways.
So we started this off with some craziness, and I'm just curious. John Petersen, can you give me a definition of what you think a lie is?
An intentional mistruth.
An intentional
Then
mistruth.
that means it has to be propositional.
Yeah, because here's
it has to be propositional then.
It just has to be intentional and knowing. Like you can speak mistruths, and you can't automatically consider that person told a lie because you don't know what their intention was.
Okay, which things can be true and false? What kinds of statements?
Good question. He's not going to be able to answer that. It's called propositions.
Good job, Jefferson.
Bottom on the first letter.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to do.
Now, I'm sure what he meant, he was like, no, I was spelling the word negligee. I'm sure
that's a reference to P. Mars is in the chat, and he likes to come in and print out racist words, but he does it one letter at a time.
Like, what does he get out of it? What does he get out of it?
He's standing up for white supremacists because they're abused.
So here's the thing. Okay, so and again, not claiming to be right, telling you what I think about it. All right. Cerberus asked me that question. I was silent because the question to me, because they're claiming, or not them, but Danny and whoever else I was interacting with was claiming that a command can't be a lie. Okay.
Right.
So and like Speed brought up a long while ago, there's many different kinds of lies. I mean, and if you, a command can contain a lie. I mean, I'm sorry. It is not just propositions that can either be true or false. Okay. I mean, it's not. I mean, there can be falsehoods in any kind of statement. It doesn't have to be a declaration of.
Right. But a falsehood is, but a falsehood isn't necessarily a lie.
Well,
you
I understand
could be false
that
about something by being mistaken.
Well, right. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that different types of phrases can contain falsehoods that may or could be lies. And in the situation, hold on. And in the situation I'm speaking of throughout this whole stream, I am talking about one specific being. I'm not saying because most of the time when a mistruth comes out of the mouth of a human being, you are committing a logical fallacy to assume they are lying. Okay, speaking a mistruth is not necessarily a lie.
Right.
But yeah, my argument is about a God that knows everything, but
he's not. I mean, I still think that you're getting kind of hung up on this, because it doesn't matter that a command. It really doesn't matter that a command can be a lie or not for what you're trying to say. I agree with Serb and Danny in this thing that just semantically a command can't be a lie, because it's just not. That doesn't definitionally make sense. But a command can be used in deception, which is what happens in the story of Abraham.
Wait. Anyone? Am I on me on it? Yeah, okay. I just looked at the chat. Anyone watching, don't listen to John. You will get more dumb. I just got dumb reading your I just got more dumb reading your comment.
Yeah, more
Jesus.
dumb. More dumb. You will get more dumb. That's just the best sentence I've ever read.
He may have worded it that way on purpose. Careful, guys.
Don't listen to Danny. It will turn you into a weenie.
Did Speed put that in there?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like his reliance on the word weenie. It's effective for him.
Well, and he eats weenies quite a lot.
What does that mean? Like what?
Don't go anywhere near that. Stay away. I just assumed that he means cocktail weenies. You know, the little Vienna wieners.
God damn.
Yeah, I mean, but the other thing. Okay, I see what you part of a deception. But what I'm saying is that a command, and maybe not the command itself, in the body of a command, there could be a lie in there. Okay, like the example I gave. Pretty poor example, I guess. But if I tell you to go get a left-handed broom from the back room, and I know there's no such thing as a left-handed broom, but I tell him to go get one anyway, I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm telling you.
No, you're giving me a command that is essentially contradictory. You're telling me to do something that
I
cannot be done.
understand that, but I know it's contradictory when I give it to you. So I am, in essence, I am telling a lie. I am stipulating that something called a left-handed broom exists, and I know that's not the case. So I am lying.
I mean, you're implying in the command. You're putting in the command. There is an implication that there is a left-handed broom. If you made the statement, there is a left-handed broom, when there in fact wasn't one, and you knew there wasn't one, that would be a lie. But the fact that that's kind of in a command doesn't necessarily make the command a lie. But you are using that command to deceive someone.
Yeah.
It's just a definitional thing. It doesn't mean it's any less of a dick move because a command isn't definitionally a lie. And that's the reason.
Imply meaningfully. That's what
Right.
Danny said.
Oh, I'm looking at the chat. It's humoring me.
The rage. Go get a left-handed broom doesn't imply there is a left-handed broom.
So you didn't believe me when you said I was paying attention?
I don't know if I entirely agree with that. The implications being put there that there is something happening in the command to make the person who's receiving the command make the inference that there is a left-handed broom to go get. The difference is in terms of like linguistics, whether or not the command is a lie. The command can contain falsehoods, and it can be used to deceive someone.
And when I was a young man, well, actually from the time I was 17 until around 27, I worked in the grocery industry. And where I came up with that scenario or that analogy is my manager, when my first job was kind of a fucking card. And we were walking the store, like you do in the grocery business at the beginning of the day, to look and see what needed to be done, what displays need to be built, yada, yada. And this new stock clerk came up to my boss and he said, yeah, I don't know, man. I can't, I don't think I can get the hang of this price gun, because back in the day, everything had a price label on it. You young folks might not know. And we actually had to dial phones. Yeah. But he takes the pricing gun from the kid and he looks at it front and he flips it over and looks at the back. He goes, you dumbass, you grabbed a left-handed gun. And off he ran to go get a right-handed gun. And my boss is just laughing his balls off, like, because there ain't no such thing as a left-handed or right-handed process gun.
Wow, that's your boss is a dick.
Yeah. He used to do that shit all the time to people.
Well, I worked in a grocery store, and it was small town grocery store, and I was, when I was still in high school, so they still had the old school stuff, the price guns and stuff. We did that to people.
Yeah.
We tell them about the left-handed price gun or whatever. And it's like that. There's no such thing.
I remember this customer came in when I was a manager years later at another grocery store. Like I was an assistant, or it might have been when I was running the dairy frozen. And again, me and the head manager were walking around talking about what we were going to do that day. And this customer was clearly drunk, walked up to us, and he was showing us this our ad, and it had said in there, it was some sale on pizzas, on mega pizzas, which would be like the generic brand pizza for that store. And it said in there 16-ounce pizza, when in fact these pizzas were like 10 ounce. And he goes, "Hey, I was only 10-ounce pizzas over there. You guys are false. That's 16-ounce pizza." It says, like, I want the 16-ounce pizzas. And before my manager could say anything, I said, "Well, hey, sir, come on over here to the office, and I'll give you a rain check for the 16-ounce pizzas." My fucking manager kind of elbows me in the side, like, no, don't do that, man. Like,
Jesus. Anyways, John, thanks for having me. I'm gonna go.
All right. Who's this?
John, I just DM'd Cerberus. I found Cerberus. I DM'd him the link.
Right, I see that.
Oh, there he is.
I thought you did that like at the beginning of the show, though.
I was having issues with it. I forgot he had a different. He's listed under a different username, and I forgot that username that he was using in Discord.
Samael.
Yep. Sorry, sir. It was okay.
Oh, I forgot about that one too. God damn it! I went by that in my fucking DM list because I was looking for Cerberus hacks, and I went because I knew I had fucking DM back and forth with Cerb before, but it was under the Samael. Yeah. Fuck. And then I went and I found you on Drag Server, but when I clicked on your icon, like, it didn't take me to the DMing. Like, it didn't take me to your profile and give me the option to DM. Hello?
No, I heard you. Jane just sent me a message that says no one knows who you are on here on Discord.
Yeah, even me, who like. Oh,
Sir probably likes it that way though, so I'm not gonna. I wasn't even gonna say your username on here. I was surprised you said it.
So, Danny apparently is a masochist. Yeah. All right. So we were getting ready to edit, but you popped in, Cerberus. Obviously, you had something you wanted to share with us.
Oh no, it's not important. If you want to end it, go ahead and end it.
Oh, okay. So let me just say a couple of things here, and we'll get out of here. Please go over to Jefferson Spatchcock's channel and give his videos a view. He doesn't give two fucks about subs, but sub to him anyway, just for spite. So Speed was here tonight. Go over and check out Answers to Atheism. You will find Speed live Monday through Friday, 2:00 Central, 3:00 Eastern. And then on the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday night, he does Saturday night at the Atheist. Please give his channel some consideration and sub and come check us out. Almost every one of the weather reports, which is the daytime show, you'll find me there, and some of the other folks that were here tonight also go over there. Also, let me mention Answers in Atheism. That's Speed. What was I trying to say? Oh, Laughing in Disbelief with Danny. He is on when Knock gets back. We'll go back to doing a show in the morning. most days of the week, most weekdays of the week. I've been, just trying to fill in here and there with some content while Knox taking his break. But at 9 a.m. every morning, Laughing in Disbelief is live with Andy. And please go over and check him out. Again, patrons, Nakasuchi is so appreciative of you. Here's Jay. Let's bring Jay in. Thanks you all so much. Everybody that subs and shows up, we love all you guys. And I appreciate you still coming on over and checking me out when Rage is not around. So we're going to get out of here. And like Knox says, be the conversation.